name is Chris Brown, and I teach at Central St Martin's. I've also used to teach at Camberwell in Liverpool, but I now work at Central St Martin's, in particular with fashion applicants. And I teach on the MA Fashion at Central St Martin's. And I look at a lot of portfolios, and we're here to sort of help you build that portfolio experience up. And really, I was saying to them that actually a portfolio is really your voice. You as an individual, you're speaking to us. We're seeing you without seeing you. So imagine going for an interview with your portfolio. You've lost your voice, you've got laryngitis. We can't really ask you any questions, so the portfolio is speaking to us. So that's what you have to do, is to try and sort of communicate through images within the portfolio. I think when your portfolio is text heavy, you lose a bit about who you are. We don't need to have a total explanation about that. So I'm Chris.
Thank you very much, Chris. Nice to see you all. My name's Mark Hudson. I'm the portfolio leader for graphics and illustration courses at Epsom, at UCA Epsom. And there's a nice little family link here I should share because Chris taught me years and years ago. So of course I'm just going to say things that I learned from the best here. And that obviously goes out to you in terms of thinking about your relationship to your own teachers and what they're going to bring to your portfolio decisions today. I'll back up entirely, of course, what Chris has said, in that your portfolio is like it's like an agent. It's like someone going out there like an ambassador for you. And it obviously is amplified by your own comments and so on, but it's really got to do a nice little standalone job of a passport, representing you, talking about your interests, and really putting across your passion and your enthusiasm in the widest possible sense. And I've got a presentation here which I don't think you need to see it completely, but we're going to base our comments off it, because we're going to make some general points about what an art and design portfolio has to do right across the board.
Yeah, hi everyone. Formerly Dr. Tom Baugh, but otherwise just Tom. I'm the head of art at Falmouth University in Cornwall, and I have travelled up today, and it's a really long way away, but it's fine, it's okay. It's a lovely place to go to. I oversee BA Fine Art, BA Drawing, MA Fine Art, PhD, research degrees, all sorts of bits and pieces. I wasn't taught by Chris, but I think it would have been amazing. But I'm here to talk about how portfolios maybe could differ, alternative types of portfolios. I experience a lot of portfolios, from paper-based or physical portfolios to digital portfolios to performances to films, to lots of bits and pieces. So I think I'd really like just a question and answer discussion today about what it can be. So kind of an informal thing, if that suits everybody. It'd be good.
And I think there's also the thing about the digital and the physical, and I think there's really the difference is there's no real difference in a way. What is a physical portfolio should actually quite easily translate into a digital portfolio. With the addition, you can put film in. You could film your sketchbook. It actually allows you a lot more possibilities. I think the great thing about the portfolio is also we judge you purely on the work, like not who you are in a way. So I think that's the great thing. The first thing we see is someone who's producing amazing work, and it should make us want to meet you. I think that's the thing. That's your calling card to say, this is what I can do. I'm really proud of it. Now meet me, and I can sell you even more.
Let's do a little exercise together now and audit where you're at, because I'm guessing everybody in the room is thinking about some kind of career within art and design. Am I correct? Was anyone just here because they're in a beautiful church building? Good, we're in the right place. And obviously you're starting to think, well, who am I? What is in my portfolio to represent me? And part of the struggle for me at this stage was, well, what should I put in there? Because I don't really know what my skills are. So I'm going to suggest think about your own profile for a second and let us know, what do you think your skills are? Are they hard skills like I know my way around a DSLR and I can run a camera, or I can use charcoal really well, or I can use Illustrator? Or are they softer skills like my ideas are always really nice and I can be endlessly fertile with ideas? I'm good in a group and I can present on behalf of a group. I can lead a group through, or I like the production stage of a project. Think for a second, what would you say your leading couple of skills were? And let's have a little shout out from you. People have a particular technical skill of some kind. Give us a yell.
Who say, okay, let's go basic. Who do you think their drawing is really their top skill? Okay, great, good. Okay, we all need to work on drawing then. Okay, 3D, making something, making things. Good. Okay, conceptual ideas, conceiving things. Yeah, okay.
Who's got an interest outside of what your teachers make you do, but in your voluntary, in your part-time, you're in a society, you make costumes for your local drama, you make masks, you carve weird stuff out of soap. Who does stuff in their extra time of any kind? Cosplay, I don't mind, whatever you like. Good. What kind of things are they? What do you do?
So I'm working for a charity organisation. I'm designing a t-shirt with them to sell to charity.
That is an amazing example. And some people don't feel it's legitimate to put that in that portfolio. It's 100% what we need to hear about, because it talks about your much wider passion. Well, there was another hand over here, did something. Yes, what do you do?
I edit a zine. Oh, fantastic.
Okay, and what might the sort of theme of the zine be? Is there like an area of passion?
It's just like it's open to submissions from just people that I know. Brilliant. So like a socially engaged practice. Fantastic. Yeah.
Because you can imagine what telling us about that says about you in terms of your skill base. You can organise people, you can work to deadline. You don't need to say that in a dry CV typed out. You just tell us you edit a zine and we kind of infer the rest. How big a part do you gentlemen feel that those voluntary things play in portfolios as extracurricular things?
I think, I think those kind of conversations come from, if you come to Falmouth, we interview everyone in Falmouth, so it's really important to meet you. So at that time, that half an hour we have with you, you popped a zine up and just started talking about that. We could spend 25 minutes just on that, you know. And if I can see an energy in you to sort of talk about a zine and the social engagements of that, it's about, you know, I can really see if it lights yourself, and other conversation strands talk about that. So it's about connecting the dots during that half an hour, I think, from your passion, just to...
I think anything that shows us, you know, something really that you're really passionate about, whether that's sort of the environment, whether it's politics with a small p, gender issues, those should be, I know there's some things you're starting to discuss with yourself, but with others at school, with staff. I think that really comes out. I think in a way, is that sort of motivation to do something more, to go that extra mile, to do something which is, you know, out of the school hours, you know, becomes more interesting for us, I think.
There's another point which often comes up, and I don't know if we want to segue into that, but people often think, right, I need to put my projects in that I've been set, and so, yeah, absolutely fair enough. But actually, there's so much more in your background and your approach to projects which we know about, and it doesn't necessarily come out in the final piece, okay? Bear with me here. Anyone can be taught how to press Command P and print a nice shiny thing off, can't they? Really big and impressive. What happens to all the other ideas? What happens to the 37 other ideas that didn't quite make the cut? And how do you tell us about those? It's my question to you. How are you going to show that in a portfolio? Do we even want to see them? Do we want to know that you're a fluent, fertile ideas-having person? Sorry, that's a question requiring the answer yes, obviously. I think it's a non question in Latin, isn't it? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you're going to show them through your sketchbooks, aren't you? You're going to show them through your process and your approach work. And I don't know, gents, but it might be worth us spending some time helping people think, well, what is a sketchbook? Why is it important? Isn't this the rough work that I never give in to my teachers?
Yeah, I was thinking a sketchbook is, I mean, for me, it's like, imagine you keep a diary and, you know, a personal diary journal, and in a way that's your thoughts, that's your innermost thoughts, which in a way you're sharing, they're for you to record. You lock up your diary, say mum or dad can't read it or whatever. But actually the sketchbook is, I think, the same thing. It's in a way a visual diary of you and your thoughts, and some of those secret thoughts, and a discussion with yourself. And in a way you're giving us the privilege of looking into that, into your mind, into the way you think. And I think that's really a good starting point, because you're thinking about And don't worry about, it's not about doing, I've seen so many sketchbooks, and sometimes they're really contrived. So you get, oh, I thought I'd stick this here, and then I would leave a blank page, and then I come back to that later on. It's not about that, it's about...
That's my sketchbook he's talking about.
This is that immediate thing, so it's not about doing a great drawing. It's not, it's about the quick idea. You're sitting in the traffic jam, in the bus, and you get the sketchbook out, and you go, oh, that's an idea. And it's the idea that's put down on a piece of paper in a sketchbook, hopefully, you can keep it, is never lost. The idea you have and you don't put down, you can't really remember it. It's gone into the ether, it's gone somewhere else. So put as many ideas as possible. And even if you think they're rotten ideas, they may be rotten ideas for this project, but for this particular project, but for some other project, they become great. And you've got this sort of source of ideas you keep maybe throughout your career.
Yeah, I mean, that's just to support that. I think I'm going to flip it a little bit. So this is a beautiful image of a sketchbook, but a sketchbook doesn't have to be a book either, right? And that's the beauty. It can be notes in an interview that you put on the table, and we just talk about those bits of paper that are lying on the, like a storyboard. It could be, I'm not saying notes on the back of your hand, but notes that are fresh and that you really want to explore in your next project. I say, I see a lot of sketchbooks, and they're very formal, and that's fantastic because that's the way we need to. You're taught, and that's great. It's really appreciative, but the ones that are a little bit different, a little bit quirky around the edges, who are a bit more fluent and allow us into those kind of like little secrets, are the ones that I go, ooh, right, I want to really talk about this. So you'll see the academic go, oh, what about that? And then there's this shiny print over there, but what about that idea there? So it's...
Can I pick up on that, Tom? Because imagine the theatricality. If you go into an interview with a toilet roll or a roll of wallpaper, and they go, oh, put your portfolio down the table, and you just trundle the whole thing out across the floor. You're in, Just that sense of theatre and alternative linear formats of recording ideas starts to say something different about you. Who's sketching the three of us now while we speak? Because I know school told us, do not doodle in lessons, look at the front, be polite. The more you can start to take notes and record things like this session and build them into some sort of crucible of ideas, the better. So I would always encourage students, get your phone out, photograph us, doodle. Keep working and making as you're in an event like this.
But you could do, I just think we talk about photography. I always think that I ask a lot of people now, you get a portfolio and you go, and it's sort of quite interesting, but there's not quite enough of this or that. And you say, well, do you have an Instagram account? Do you have and you go, yeah, they say yes. And you go, you don't want to stop the Instagram account with them all if you're on holiday. But suddenly they'll do an Instagram account which is just really interesting photographs of, I said not the holiday snaps, but maybe just of architecture they like or colour. So anyway, having a little so you can actually have this sort of this sketchbook which is up there somewhere, which is on your phone, which is of a theme. It's a theme. So give yourself themes as well. So you can have sketchbooks within sketchbooks.
I've just got a few images. You probably saw me spinning them, and you don't even need to be near this thing to see. There's one sketchbook, there's another one, and there's 4 people there. Now, just from those, can you start to infer something about those people's personalities? How gentle they might be, how bold, how chatty. Do you see the job it's done? It's your ambassador who's going before you and is starting to represent who you are in a much fuller way than that lovely shiny final piece you've made, which in lots of ways is sort of, yes, glossy, but it's very sleeked down, and it's a little bit sterile and lifeless, if you ask me.
I guess, we all work very closely with our students, and I think what we're very excited about is collaboration, in the studio between academics and students and stuff. And what we're looking for always as academics, researchers, artists, new ideas. We're working with you, we're not working, we're working together. So we want to help you push your project and vice versa. So we're kind of like all in it together. So we need to we're really after the new knowledge, that there's little bits and pieces to sort of push further with you, something different. Yeah.
But you also, it may be a sketchbook where you're not the sort of conceptual ideas person, you're actually really the recorder of what you see. So a sketchbook of people on the bus, people you see, landscape, object, in a way that's as valuable. It's a very different approach, because that's saying, okay, I'm really more going towards one form of, it could be maybe becoming an illustrator, or maybe becoming a fine artist, but in a way it's through an observation of the world rather than maybe an internal view or something. So sketchbooks can also tell us very much about the way you may be going eventually into a career.
You could probably imagine now that a sketchbook with your friends' mobile numbers in, and your shopping list and your menus, brilliant. Why? Not because it's informal, but it's clearly a working document for you. It's something you go to daily, and it's like a go-to place. So please don't sterilize it and feel those things are not formal enough somehow. Again, we're slightly fighting against school curricula here a little bit about how to present and how you should be. This is a moment where you're putting the whole of yourself across, all of your passions and all of your outside interests. So for me, tea stains, bits of soup spilled on there, it's all good. It's all good. We will DNA analyze it, of course, and look into your diet, recommend you some dietary changes, but I think you get the point.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's in a way, if you can get into the, I think a sketchbook habit. You should keep maybe your one that you're doing for A level or whatever it is, but maybe there's the personal one. You start to record things that are interesting to you, and that could include, it could be bits of ephemera then you stick in. It becomes a bit like a scrapbook as well. It all depends how you use it. It's not. There's not a wrong and a right. I mean, it's not. We're not being saying this is what a sketchbook should be. We're not being descriptive. The sketchbook is how you use this thing, and it said it could be sheets of paper which are all sort of clipped.
Yeah, yeah. It could be you. You know. I don't know about you, but in my experience, I've had people coming into an interview say, "I am the sketchbook," and they're just talking through themselves as a sketchbook because they couldn't write it down, so they didn't want to write it down. Now that is like, okay, so existential, but that's really quite cool.
That's a hefty tattoo.
That's
Bill,
a hefty tattoo. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
we've. Just when we were chatting, it might be good to shift things on a little bit to think about what's the role of digital work in how you present yourself. And I know lots of people worry about this, that I haven't got my skills up to scratch or something. And we started talking about digital sketchbooks, didn't we? And how you represent that kind of stuff. You can just probably see this spinning even if you're at the back here. And rather than writing on your CV, I can use After Effects, I have really strong ideas. My name is Charlie, and I know how to have a piece of work like this really shortcuts loads of those things, which then leaves you with the thing of, well, how do I put it? How do I present this to people? And I don't know what you gentlemen think, but you could whip out your phone or a tablet or have this ready, have some kind of GIFs ready that don't rely on the internet in an interview, or links out to a Behance or a Wix or a cargo site or so on, and be ready to show us how you and technology work together.
But it's not, again, it's up to you how you use technology. So I think that's, and some people, I'm still surprised that some people of your age still are terrified of technology, but I think that's okay, because that's part of you, really.
Yeah.
Are there many people here working digitally at the moment through film or sound work, or is it more kind of, let's say, drawing and sculpture and zine work? How are you recording those things, those who are working digitally?
Is anyone digitally? Okay, that's up to the back.
Do you want to say something about your work?
I do some music production and I do some digital editing.
I might have to come a bit further forward and.
I do some music production.
Oh, music production. Oh, great.
Digital editing.
Okay. And so how do we listen to if you came to an interview, how would we listen to your work? Would you give us a set of headphones or?
Well, just send it as a file.
Okay, yeah, cool. But would you have some instructions for us to listen to it? Like, would it just be through an Apple Mac or a laptop or a tablet? Or would there be a specific, you must put headphones on, you must be in a certain space, or is it just?
Normally for music books, they have in their studio.
Okay, a sound booth, yeah. Great.
Lots of people worry about, I'm not good at Adobe, I haven't learned enough, you haven't passed a driving test in computers. Personally, I don't care. If you hate computers or you don't know, you never met one before, but I need you to have some kind of angle on it. I need you to have something ready about your relationship with technology. And so my hype would be expand technology to include, how do you get on with drills or planes or saws or other things that help you to make things. And where do you see that going in the future? Maybe you like writing on vellum and doing medieval, you're likely to see yourself on a timeline then as a designer who is kind of here when cave painting is here and living on Mars is here. And that starts a really interesting conversation with us. So my tip to you, have some thoughts about you and technology ready to go, which they might be like this, or they might be
the same machine or a needle and thread.
Yeah.
There's not a hierarchy there.
Yeah. Let's do a little temperature test. Okay, 0, you've got no relationship with technology, you never used electricity. 10, you love it and you're a complete robot just made of things. What's your number on the scale of how well do you get on with some form of technology? Think of a number to yourself. And who's on a 1 and a 2? Technology haters, we'll come back to that. Yeah, probably me. Who's on a 3, 4 or 5? Like, yeah, I can sort of negotiate my way through the... Any 6s and 7s? We're worried about you. And 9, 10 or 11, you're obviously an android of some kind. So, I mean, that's quite promising, isn't it, really? Because people start to see where they are in terms of how your relationship is. I would relax about having to sort of buff up on your computer terminology. We're never going to sit in an interview and go, what's the tool for shortcut?
No, we're not. Yeah. No. And we've only got... in my case, I've only got half an hour with you, and we pride ourselves at half an hour, and I want to find out about you and your work. So if they're talking about technology and computers aren't turning on, it's kind of like, ooh, let's park that one, and let's look at something on paper, it's...
But for me, that's speaking in tongues, it's like, maybe it's in Norwegian or something. But I think this, so that's really, in a way, the sketchbook for me is the start of the journey, isn't it? The start of the journey we want to see in the portfolio. And it's then how you take what's in those pages and take it out and develop whatever is going to happen next. That's the thing. It's the mantra is, also the research and how you think about things and what you look at to inspire you. Because believe me, I mean, very few of you or any of us. Original thought is very difficult to have. So we have to be inspired by something to make us want to change something or do something or go a different place. So there's a sort of, so we're doing, I think probably all colleges, we have a thing called research, what we look at, and what do you look at, and how do you look at it, and how does that inform you? And I always think it's about research about what you know and then what you don't know. So you explore the things that you don't know or you need to know to help you create something. And that can be technology, or it can be
I think process. I mean, just the whole, in that going the portfolio in the interview period. I'm quite interested to hear, what you've been reading, kind of what you're looking at. Zines, got zines in my head. I can't get them out. Online journals, wherever it might be. What have you seen? You've been to a show or something like that. You've read some theory that you've like, oh, what's that about? I want to unpick that with this guy a little bit more. I'm really interested in that. So, yeah.
I suppose it probably comes back to, and again, I would have this ready at the interview. Is like, what's education for? What are you doing getting into design education? Why don't you just go straight out and do what it is you want to do? Probably because, without feeding any lines, we're not quite ready yet, are we? We're not quite there. You're bringing the ingredients to an interview or to the start of a HE experience, and you don't get cooked for a number of years afterwards. So there's a couple of implications of that. Of course we're relaxed if you're just showing us ingredients. We don't expect everything to be like perfect and super slick and fine, because you're at that stage in your design development. And here's something maybe to share with you, and don't tell Chris this, but your work is going to change all the way through your life, and the portfolio just gets you to the next stage. And then the work you're so proud of when you were 21, I've thrown it away, but it got me to being 22, So actually, think of it as a long, iterative kind of journey. It's just going to do a job for you temporarily and get you somewhere else.
Yeah, I think it is a journey. It's a really enjoyable journey. And that journey sometimes takes you down dead ends. And then you have to turn you back up and then you go on to the next one. So really, this portfolio is the beginning of your journey, but also should be a journey in itself, because it is It is a line, is a portfolio is a line really, has a beginning, middle and an end, and that is the narrative. It's a sequence of things that you've done, achieved, looked at, recorded.
I mean, we talk a bit more about just, we're come at portfolios differently, but, I'm looking for sort of just, I guess, risks taking and experimentation and working across processes, but more so like the next step, the willingness to take that risk to level 4, year 1, and what might happen there. Not be scared of that and take trust in the fact that the academics will sort of flank you as we go forward, but having that willingness to try, particularly on a fine art program, different things.